Petty cash, $300 debit. Accounts receivable, $15,485.25. Allowance for uncollectible accounts. We would add those two numbers together. And so it's a credit of $2,000.
In the balance sheet?
Yep, in the balance sheet. All of these are balance sheet. $2,644.84. You put that in the credit and we get that.
Whoops.
Okay, we should have those next four filled in, so we'll go down to office equipment. Debit of $35,487.25. Then accumulated depreciation office equipment is a credit of $18,605.25. Store equipment is a debit of $40,849.50. Depreciation for store equipment is a credit of $20,543.25. Okay, the rest of these are credits. So it's $18,482.28. The next one we're leaving blank. So then employee income tax, $998.00. $774.07. $181.03. $1,848.35. $24. $162. $950. $80. $75. $10,000. $175,000. $12,577.45. Okay, next page. Okay, dividends is still balance sheet, so it's going to be a debit of $21,000. Okay, income summary is the key to when things start going in the income statement. Okay, so the rest of these are income statement. So it's going to be a debit of $13,848.05. Next line is $845,000 in the credit. Sorry, credit. $845,828.09. Next line is a debit, $648.25. Debit, $8,157.27. Debit of $389,184.01.
What was it?
$389,184.01. Credit, $4,615.25. Credit again of $9,497.00. Okay, the rest of these are all going to be in the debit column. So $15,280. $12.85. $6,482.20. $24,000. Even. What? $204,180.85. $4,828.10. $3,945.25. $2,120. And $4,264.28. Okay, we're not going to do the federal income tax expense yet. Now what we need to do is on page 374.
Okay, so you don't want to do what?
And we're going to do there at the bottom where it has the before federal income tax. See it on the side?
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
So when you do this on your own, because we don't have everything done yet, you're going to just have to total them up. For time's sake, I'm just going to tell you what the totals are. Okay, but you would have to add up the columns as if you were going to put the totals off the bottom. And so our credit is $859,940.34. Okay, and then our debit is $714,284.40. Okay, then to calculate our net income, we need to subtract those two, so you guys can handle that. So subtract that and let's see what we get.
Use your calculator, guys, in your head.
I know it's nice.
So it's
Before
gonna be
says
like
the cents.
100. But the first number is 1.
1,
4, 5,
45,
7,
6, 55, and 94 cents.
Okay, $145,655.94. Okay, so we have that calculated. So the next thing we're doing is using that pink tax table. We're going to calculate the federal income tax expense and record the adjustments. We have to look at the pink table, but then we need to be on page 375 and do what's on the side of that page. Okay, so the first thing on that blank, below the next 25,000, we need to put the number you calculated from 374. So do 145,000.
Remember this one?
Yeah. $145,655.94.
45,000.
$655. Okay, so when you subtract that, 45,695, or sorry, 655.94. Okay, so from the pink chart, what is our rate for the first $50,000? Okay, so we're just write 15% on the rate, and then you'll take that times 50,000.
What do you mean?
Oh, I need my calculator.
You mean like 50,000 times 15%?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh.
It is 7,500.
Yep, it's 7,500.
Did that without my calculator.
25,000 then times what's our second rate?
25%.
25%. Okay, 6,250. Okay, so far we've said that our company's made 75,000. Did our company make 100,000?
Yes.
Yes.
So we're gonna keep going. So what's our third percentage? 34%. What do we get? than the 100,000.
Heck
Okay.
yeah.
So what's our fourth percentage?
39.
Okay, so 39%. So you take the 39% times 45,655.94. Lindsay, what'd you get?
17,305.82.
Okay, so $17,805.82. Okay, then we're gonna add those up to see what is our federal income tax.
Well, technically. Yeah, I'm keeping going.
82 is all in.
What do we get done with this? Can I get some?
Okay, so $40,055.82. Okay, so where we are now putting that number is on our federal income tax expense. So that's there on line 49. And it's going to go in the debit.
The income statement?
Yep, income statement. So it's the $40,055.82. Okay, but that does not match that 40,000, right?
No.
Okay, so we need to know what is the difference.
55,000 or 55, almost.
Okay, $55.82. So in our adjustments, is that going to be a debit or a credit? A debit. So a debit and it's letter H. $55.82. Okay, what's going to be our matching adjustment? We need a credit for that then.
I don't know either. Payable, federal income tax payable.
Right, line 14. We can't see that, Caitlin.
Sorry.
Okay, it should be letter H.
Whoops.
Okay, so H, and it's then a credit of $55.82. Okay, so now that we have that done, we now need to bring over the $55.82 into our balance sheet. Okay, so it's a balance sheet credit. $55.82. Okay, now we go back to 375. We have to now start getting the rest of our totals. Okay, so go ahead and continue that single rule across the rest of your columns.
Oh, Lord.
I think I remember.
No, I already doubled the.
Okay,
Yeah, me too.
I'm just going to tell you the answers.
Yay!
I know we have calculator problems. Okay, adjustment, debit, and credit then is $41,377.22. That's for your debit and your credit. What are you doing, Caitlin?
Sorry.
Yeah, putting it in the wrong spot. Wrong spot. Wrong spot.
Thought you said
Up
adjustment.
above,
Yeah, like up one line from where you are.
like your other tool.
Shut up, Lindsay.
And then you can double roll underneath your adjustments. So those two numbers match.
Did I write it in the credit too?
Yes.
How? There's nothing there.
On the other page there is.
Okay. Then for our income statement debit, it's $754,340.22. Okay, this is when your debits and credits do not equal. Okay, so then you would add in this column, so our income statement credit column is $859,940.34. Let me give you a helpful hint when you're doing this on your own. We already added up these columns essentially once, right? Okay, so don't waste your time recalculating because the credit's going to stay the same. We didn't add anything to the credit. The debit, the only things that is changing is that last number we did, just that federal income tax. You can take take the number that we already did on 374 and just add that federal income tax. Okay, does that make sense? Trying to give you a shortcut. Don't add up, 50 numbers again. Just one's still the same, and you're just adding one number to your other one. Okay, then our balance sheet debit column, $368,601.46.
For both.
No?
You can't read that number.
$368,601.46. Okay, then our balance sheet credit, $263,001.34.
You double rule this?
Do they equal each other?
No.
Nope, we're not done. This is when you then, we're going to subtract our income statement, credit, and debit. So now, underneath your income statement debit number, if you would subtract those two, you should get 105,000 debit. $600.12. Okay, then you're going to subtract your two balance sheet numbers. And our goal is, how we know if we did things right, is these two numbers should match, right? The two subtracting numbers. So then in your balance sheet credit, it's going to be that same number, $105,600.12. Okay, then over in the far left column, under our account titles, on line 51, you're going to label that as your net income after federal income tax. You're probably going to have to do some abbreviations. Like income, you can do INC.
Net income.
After federal, which you can do FED, income tax. Okay, now with our last four columns, we need to do another single rule there. So you need to re-add it. We need to get everything so that it matches. And so then ideally when you add those numbers, yeah, your credit's going to stay the same, and then your debit should equal that same number. So then our debit and credit should both be $859,940.34. Double rule, and then your credit columns should, balance sheet columns should equal $368,601.46.
Can you repeat that?
$368,601.46.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay. That is